Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you now, right now, to cast aside every limitation that has ever been sown into your belief by the world around you. For in this very moment I speak not only to your ears, but directly to the workshop of your mind. Because it is there, and only there, that the seeds of greatness are sown. You see, in over 100 years of studying the minds of the world's most powerful thinkers, builders, dreamers, and doers, there is one truth that has roared louder than all others. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. That is not a phrase for decoration, it is the iron law of success. It is the master key to wealth, health, happiness, and the unfolding of your full potential, if your mind can imagine it. If it can build the picture with absolute clarity and fuel it with desire, then that picture, no matter how grand, can and will become real. You have within you the spark, but it must be fed, and that fire begins with belief, because belief is the foundation of all human achievement. Now listen carefully. Every great achievement, invention, and revolution in human history began as a thought. A single idea held in the mind with conviction has the power to shape the course of history. It may appear intangible at first, just a flicker in the imagination, but thought is the original seed from which all success is born. Before there was electricity, there was the thought of light. Before there were skyscrapers, there was the vision of a man looking at the sky and thinking, "We can build higher." Nothing in the material world exists without first taking root in the immaterial world of the mind. The human mind is a workshop. It is where images, plans, and strategies are crafted. It is where the future is designed before a single action is taken. People often make the mistake of looking at the world and believing that their circumstances shape them. But the reverse is true. It is the quality of thought that determines what kind of circumstances a person will create or attract. Thought is not passive, it is a force, and when concentrated and focused with precision, it gains the power to move people, create change, and manifest results. Thoughts are more than daydreams or fleeting moments of imagination. They are blueprints. A person who wishes to build a house must first draw a plan. Likewise, a person who wants to build a better life must start by refining their thinking. Many people live in a reactive state of mind, constantly influenced by their environment, their past failures, or the limitations others place upon them. This results in vague thinking, weak goals, and limited effort. But those who achieve greatness have trained themselves to think clearly and constructively. They think deliberately. They do not allow negative or aimless thoughts to dwell in their mind. They guard their mental environment like a fortress, for they know that what they permit in their thoughts eventually manifests in their lives. The mind, like a garden, will grow whatever is planted in it. If you plant weeds of fear, doubt, or laziness, you will harvest a life of struggle and mediocrity. But if you plant seeds of courage, persistence, and purpose, you will harvest success, fulfillment, and legacy. That is why it is crucial to be intentional with what you think about. The most powerful men and women in the world are not necessarily the strongest, the richest, or the most educated. They are those who have mastered their thoughts. The tragedy of many lives is not that people aim too high and fail, but that they aim too low and succeed. And why do they aim low? Because their thoughts are small. They think survival, not success. They think comfort, not conquest. They think safety, not significance. Your thoughts determine the size of your dreams, and your dreams determine the scale of your actions. A man who believes he is limited will never rise beyond those limits. But a man who trains his thoughts to believe in abundance, possibility, and greatness has already taken the first step toward it. You do not need permission to think bigger. The only person who needs to believe in your vision is you. Because your thoughts, when repeated and believed, become your beliefs, and your beliefs guide your actions. Over time, your actions shape your habits, and your habits determine your destiny. But it all begins with a thought. You must feed your mind with powerful, uplifting, and visionary thoughts every single day. Read the right books. Surround yourself with winners. Speak words that align with the future you want to create. Make it your mission to eliminate all mental pollution. Just as you would never drink dirty water, you must refuse to let toxic thoughts enter your mind, because the world you experience is nothing more than a reflection of the thoughts you hold most often. Great leaders, inventors, and pioneers think differently from the average person. They think in terms of solutions, not problems. They think about what's possible, not what's missing, and most importantly, they think with faith, not fear. This mindset doesn't happen overnight. It is a discipline. It must be built day by day. But once it is formed, it becomes unstoppable. Whatever you desire to achieve, wealth, influence, freedom, or legacy, know that it must first be created in your mind. You must visualize it so clearly that it becomes real to you. You must think about it until your subconscious begins to work toward it even while you sleep. This is not magic. It is mental discipline. It is the way achievers live. It is one thing to see a vision in your mind, but belief is what gives that vision life. Without belief, even the greatest idea will lie dormant. Without belief, plans remain only on paper. Belief is the ignition switch. It transforms static thoughts into dynamic energy. It gives courage to take risks. It fuels resilience in the face of setbacks. Belief is not merely hope. It is the conviction that what you desire is not only possible, but inevitable. You may know people who have big dreams, but they never seem to move forward. They talk about their goals, they write them down, they plan, but they never act. And the reason is almost always the same. Deep down, they don't believe they can actually achieve it. Without belief, desire fizzles out. Without belief, even motivation fades. But with belief, a person becomes dangerous. With belief, a person can do in months what others fail to do in decades. Belief is not inherited, it is built. It is forged in the fires of discipline, learning, and personal victory. Every time you do what you said you would do, belief strengthens. Every time you act in spite of fear, belief grows. You don't need anyone else to believe in your dream if you believe in it yourself. Others will join you only after they see your conviction, and belief is contagious. One person with unshakable belief can inspire hundreds. It's why leaders win battles, why entrepreneurs attract investors, and why speakers move crowds. When someone believes in their mission with every fiber of their being, it shows in their eyes, their voice, their posture, and their actions. They radiate certainty, but belief must be trained. It must be spoken out loud. It must be acted upon daily. You reinforce belief not with more thinking, but with bold action. When you take that first step, no matter how small, your belief deepens. When you see results, your belief doubles. When you overcome obstacles, your belief becomes unbreakable. Fear is the opposite of belief, and where fear is present, belief cannot thrive. That is why you must uproot fear as soon as it appears. Fear whispers lies. It tells you you're not ready, you're not worthy, you're not capable. But belief shouts truth, that your dream is valid, that your path is real, and that you have everything inside you already to win. If you were to sit quietly for just 5 minutes and vividly imagine the life you want, see it, feel it, breathe it, and if you did this every day, your belief would begin to rise. Your mind would start seeking out ways to make that life real. Opportunities would appear, energy would return, clarity would emerge, because belief has a frequency, and when you're tuned into it, life begins to respond. Your vision may be big, it may be bold, good. But belief is the bridge that carries vision into the realm of action. If you lack belief, you will hesitate, you will delay, you will rationalize your way into an action. But when you believe, your feet move. Your hands work, your spirit fights. Belief turns wishful thinking into determined pursuit. It turns dreamers into doers. Desire is not a passive emotion. It is not merely a wish or a vague hope. True desire is an all-consuming force, a burning obsession that refuses to be ignored. It is the fire that ignites the journey toward any worthwhile goal. Without desire, no plan can gain traction, and no action will sustain itself long enough to reach the finish line. When a person is gripped by a definite desire, they become unstoppable. The obstacles that intimidate others appear small. The delays that discourage others only sharpen their focus, because real desire has power. It draws the mind forward. It gives meaning to effort. It transforms failure into fuel and persistence into habit. Desire cannot be borrowed. It must come from within. It cannot be taught in a classroom or handed down through a book. It is born from a personal vision, a vivid picture of a future that is so meaningful, so compelling, that it demands pursuit. You must see something in your imagination so clearly that you begin to crave it, to need it, to hunger for it more than comfort, more than distraction, more than fear. That kind of desire will make you rise early and stay late. It will make you sacrifice what others call essential. It will change the way you think, speak, and act. It will become the engine behind every decision you make. The problem most people face is not a lack of talent, but a lack of desire. They want a better life, but they don't want it badly enough. They want success, but not at the cost of change, not at the cost of effort, not at the cost of failing in front of others. Their desire is weak, so their results are weak. They are not moved to act, so life passes them by. But those who desire with intensity, those who want it more than they want excuses, they always find a way. They attract solutions. They create momentum. Because desire makes things move. Every great achievement in history was sparked by desire. The desire for freedom, the desire for knowledge, the desire for greatness. Those who have achieved what seemed impossible began with a relentless longing for more. They did not settle. They were not content with mediocrity. Their lives were shaped by the fire inside them, not by the conditions around them. They refused to accept the limits placed upon them by others, because their desire refused to be confined. You must ask yourself daily, how badly do I want it? Are you willing to work when it's hard, when no one is watching, when no one is clapping? Are you willing to pay the price in discipline, focus, and energy? If your answer is yes, then you already possess the most important ingredient of success. Because when desire is strong enough, everything else will follow. Skills can be learned, strategies can be taught. But without desire, none of it will matter. Desire is the fuel that keeps you going long after the mood has faded and the motivation has gone cold. Desire sharpens your vision. It helps you ignore distractions. It tunes your mind to recognize opportunity. When you truly desire something, you begin to see possibilities where others see problems. You begin to create options where others see roadblocks. Your mind, powered by desire, begins to solve the puzzles that once confused you. And as your desire deepens, your creativity awakens, your resolve becomes firm, your momentum becomes unstoppable. Do not apologize for wanting more. Do not shrink your goals to fit someone else's expectations. Desire is sacred. It is the voice of purpose trying to speak through you. It is the soul's way of saying, there is more for you than this. And when you honor that voice, when you let desire lead, you begin to unlock a part of yourself that is stronger, bolder, and more alive than you've ever known. Some will call you obsessed. Let them. Obsession is what separates the average from the exceptional. Those who accomplish greatness do not dabble. They are not lukewarm. They are on fire. Their desire becomes their identity, and in time, that identity shapes their destiny. When your desire is genuine, when it runs deep, you will no longer ask, "Can I?" You will only ask, "How can I?" Because desire eliminates doubt, it leaves no room for hesitation. It creates motion, and motion creates change. Desire is your birthright. It is not arrogance to want to rise. It is not selfish to want to grow. It is not foolish to pursue something bold and extraordinary. If the desire is in you, it is there for a reason. Trust it, feed it, follow it, because it is the most accurate compass you will ever have. The most dangerous enemies of success are not external. They are not the economy or competition or lack of opportunity. The true enemies live in the mind. They are doubt and fear. These silent forces paralyze more dreams than failure ever could. They do not arrive loudly. They whisper, they question, they delay. Doubt says, "Are you sure you can do this?" Fear says, "What if you fail?" Together, they drain energy, crush momentum, and destroy vision before it ever takes its first step. Doubt is subtle. It wears the disguise of reason. It pretends to protect you from disappointment, but its real mission is sabotage. Doubt sneaks in after a great idea is born and begins to tear it apart. It magnifies your weaknesses. It recalls every past failure. It compares you to others and tells you that you are not enough. And if you entertain it, if you allow it to stay, doubt will talk you out of your dream before you ever begin. Fear is even more cunning. It does not always shout. Often it shows up as hesitation, procrastination, or the need for perfection. It convinces you to wait until you're ready. It convinces you to gather more information, to make the plan better, to wait for the right time. But that time never comes, and the opportunity passes. Fear is not interested in your safety. It is interested in your surrender. You must treat doubt and fear like poison, because that is what they are. They may feel like protection, but they are the slow death of potential. When you feel doubt, you must replace it with faith. When fear speaks, you must answer with action. Do not wait for fear to go away. It won't. You must move forward in spite of it. That is the only way fear loses power, when you refuse to obey it. Every person who has ever achieved something great has felt fear, but they did not allow fear to stop them. They acted anyway. They moved forward trembling, unsure, and sometimes alone. But they moved, and in that movement they proved to themselves that fear was a liar, that doubt was wrong, that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to go on anyway. Doubt and fear live in the mind, but they can be removed by choice. You do not have to agree with them. You do not have to feed them. You can choose new thoughts. You can choose faith, confidence, and courage. And every time you do, those new thoughts will grow stronger, and the voices of fear and doubt will grow weaker. You must guard your mind daily. You must be vigilant about what you allow in. Surround yourself with voices of strength, not weakness. Read stories of courage, not collapse. Speak words of victory, not victimhood. What you feed your mind becomes your belief, and what you believe becomes your behavior. Understand this. Fear and doubt will never leave completely, but they do not have to rule you. You can train your mind to push through. You can train your emotions to obey your will. You can rise even when afraid. You can advance even while uncertain, because greatness is not given to the fearless. It is earned by those who refuse to surrender to fear. 5. Persistence is the master key to success. Persistence is the distinguishing trait that separates those who dream from those who achieve. It is the silent, unwavering force that keeps you moving forward when the path is unclear, when the support fades, and when the results are not yet visible. Most people begin their journey with enthusiasm. They are inspired by a goal, driven by ambition. But when difficulties arise, as they always do, many begin to retreat. They question their vision. They doubt their abilities. But those who understand the power of persistence never quit when the way gets hard. They lean into the struggle. They understand that adversity is not a sign to stop, but a test to pass. Persistence is not flashy. It is not loud or dramatic. It is quiet. It is the decision to rise again after falling, to try once more after failure, to move forward one more inch when the world says to give up. It is the inner commitment to stay the course, no matter how long it takes or how hard it becomes. Because results are never immediate. Success never bows to impatience. Anything worth having demands effort, and effort sustained over time requires persistence. It is not always talent that wins. Often, it is the one who simply refuses to be broken. Persistence sharpens discipline. It strengthens the will. It carves out character. When you persist, you build endurance, and endurance gives birth to resilience. You become a person who can weather storms. A person who can keep promises to themselves. That kind of internal power cannot be bought or borrowed. It must be earned through repetition, failure, and the refusal to quit. Each time you persist, you are casting a vote for the future you desire. You are proving to yourself and to the world that your dream is not a passing wish. It is a demand you are willing to fight for. Those who fail to persist often stop just inches from the prize. They give up too soon, convinced that nothing is happening, unaware that the breakthrough was one more effort away. But those who persist dig deeper. They stay in the game when it is no longer exciting. They show up when no one else does, and because of that, they receive what others only talk about. They reach the summit that others admire from a distance. They become the example of what is possible when persistence is practiced as a daily principle. Persistence does not mean repeating the same mistake. It means refining the process while maintaining the goal. It means adjusting the strategy without abandoning the mission. It means being flexible in approach, but fixed in vision. Sometimes persistence looks like trying again, and sometimes it looks like trying differently. The key is to never stop moving. Progress may be slow, but even slow progress is progress. As long as you are advancing, as long as you are learning, you are winning. Do not envy those who seem to achieve easily. You do not know the hours they persisted in silence. You do not see the days they pushed forward in doubt. Every overnight success is the result of a long road walked with persistence. Celebrate your small wins. They are proof that you are still in motion. They are the seeds of something larger, and if you continue, they will multiply. They will compound into something greater than you imagined. Persistence trains your mind to expect results from effort. It builds the kind of belief that is not shaken by delay or rejection. Rejection is not a signal to stop, it is a detour. Delay is not denial. It is preparation, but only the persistent understand this, because only they keep going long enough to see the truth unfold. When you persist, you are telling the universe that you are serious, that you will not be moved by temporary discomfort, that your purpose is stronger than your pain. Most people are conditioned to quit at the first sign of difficulty. They have been taught that failure is final, but the persistent have learned that failure is simply feedback, it is data, it is instruction. It is the correction needed to adjust the aim and fire again. Persistence transforms failure into foundation. It turns setbacks into setups. It converts defeat into wisdom. Every great invention, every great business, every great accomplishment has one thing in common. It was brought into existence by someone who persisted beyond the point where others gave up. The persistent understand that pain is temporary, but quitting is forever. They would rather suffer now than regret later. They would rather fall forward than stand still in fear, because they know that the only way to guarantee failure is to stop trying. Faith is not a wish. It is not blind hope. Faith is the inner knowing that something can be done even when no visible evidence exists. It is the foundation upon which all achievement is built. Without faith, the mind cannot commit. Without faith, action is hesitant and inconsistent. Faith provides certainty in the face of uncertainty. It gives strength when logic runs out. It keeps the spirit upright when circumstances suggest defeat. Those who achieve greatness are those who have learned to cultivate and protect their faith, especially when doubt knocks on the door. Faith begins in the imagination. It starts with the ability to see what does not yet exist, to feel what has not yet materialized. Before any invention became real, before any empire was built, before any success story unfolded, there was first faith. Someone believed it was possible. Someone believed in themselves, in their purpose, and in the unseen laws that govern success. That belief became their power. It carried them through the storms of criticism, through the wilderness of delay, through the silence of setbacks. Because faith is not dependent on circumstances. It is a choice to believe in the invisible until it becomes visible. Faith does not mean ignoring reality. It means understanding that reality is shaped by thought. What you hold in your mind consistently will eventually shape what you experience. If you fill your mind with faith, your actions will follow. Your tone will change, your posture will shift. You will walk differently, speak differently, work differently. You will attract resources, opportunities, and people who respond to your energy, because faith is magnetic. It draws in what is aligned with it. Doubt scatters focus, fear steals vision, but faith concentrates your power. It brings clarity to your mission. It pushes you to act when others hesitate. Faith says, I don't need to see the whole staircase. I only need to take the next step. And when you do, you begin to realize that each step leads to another, that doors open where walls once stood, that momentum builds when you trust the process. That is the essence of faith, acting without a guarantee, yet knowing that the result is inevitable. To cultivate faith, you must guard your thoughts. You must become the master of your internal conversation. Speak to yourself with power, with assurance, with the language of a victor. What you repeat, you begin to believe. And what you believe, you begin to manifest. This is not magic, it is law. Faith-filled thoughts create faith-driven actions. Faith-driven actions create results. Faith is strengthened through repetition. Just as a muscle grows through resistance, faith grows through challenge. Every obstacle you overcome becomes evidence that your faith was not in vain. Every time you push through fear, your faith expands. Every act of courage nourishes the belief that more is possible. So never fear difficulty. It is shaping your faith. Never resent delay. It is fortifying your resolve. Surround yourself with others who speak the language of belief. Distance yourself from cynics, from doubters, from those who speak limitation and impossibility. Your faith is too valuable to be polluted by negativity. Protect it as you would protect a flame in the wind. Nurture it, feed it with stories of triumph, with affirmations of power, with the silence of meditation and the fire of purpose. Faith is contagious. When you carry it within you, it spreads to others. It elevates those around you. It inspires action. It creates movement. It causes the impossible to bow to determination. You will be tested. Your faith will be challenged. But if you hold firm, if you keep your eyes on the vision, if you walk with conviction, then no force on earth can keep from you what you have already claimed in your heart. When a burning desire is paired with a clear and definite purpose, it creates a force that is nearly impossible to stop. Desire alone is powerful, but when it is aligned with a meaningful goal, it transforms into focused energy that drives action regardless of obstacles. This combination awakens inner power, sharpens vision, and fuels perseverance. It eliminates hesitation, silences distractions, and draws unseen help from sources that seem coincidental but are magnetically attracted by your intensity. Purpose gives direction to your desire, and desire gives fuel to your purpose. Together, they forge the emotional intensity required to overcome resistance and sustain momentum. A clear and definite purpose channels the mind's energy like a laser. When your aim is precise, confusion dissolves and decisions become easier. The mind craves direction, and clarity gives it something to organize around. Every thought, action, and habit begins aligning toward that central purpose. The clearer the goal, the stronger the pull. Without clarity, effort is scattered and motivation fades, but with it, even small steps become meaningful. You begin to recognize the right opportunities, avoid detours, and attract the right people. A focused purpose gives your thoughts form, and that form attracts the very circumstances required to bring it into reality. Whatever you impress repeatedly upon your subconscious mind begins to shape your reality. The subconscious is fertile ground, and the thoughts you plant in it, especially those charged with emotion, will grow into habits, beliefs, and eventually outcomes. Repetition is the tool of transformation. When you affirm a thought consistently with conviction, it begins to bypass resistance and becomes accepted as truth. Over time, your subconscious takes these impressions as commands, guiding your behavior and influencing the energy you emit. This is why consistent, intentional thought is so critical. It programs your deeper self for achievement. Fear and doubt are the silent saboteurs of progress, eroding confidence and clouding judgment. They whisper false limits, convincing you that your vision is too bold or your abilities too small. If not checked, they grow stronger with each indecision and every missed opportunity. But these enemies are mental, not physical, and they thrive only when given attention. The mind can be trained to override them through courage, belief, and purposeful action. By confronting fear with truth and replacing doubt with deliberate thought, you take back control and create the mental space necessary for achievement to take root. We began this journey with the immortal truth that all achievement begins in the mind. Your thoughts are not idle. They are power in motion. You've learned that belief is the ignition switch of achievement, and without it, no engine ever roars to life. We examined how imagination builds the blueprint of your success, and how faith transforms that blueprint into tangible form. I reminded you that persistence is the chisel that shapes your dream, striking again and again, long after others have stopped. We discovered how organized planning lays the tracks for your desire to run upon, and that desire combined with purpose creates unstoppable energy, the fuel that will not be denied. You now know that clarity of purpose aligns your inner world, allowing the outer world to bend in response. You've come to understand how the subconscious mind responds faithfully to repetition, taking orders without judgment, programming your results silently. And finally, I revealed that fear and doubt are not real. They are illusions, but dangerous ones, and unless mastered, they'll steal everything you were born to create. So now I ask you, what is the image living in your mind? Is it vague or is it vivid? Because if you can see it, if you can feel it, if you can believe in it, then it is no longer a dream, but a future in waiting.